So welcome everyone, or welcome back if you've been following for a little while. For those of you who are new here, I'm Catherine G. Lucas. I'm the author of 4 books on harnessing the transformational power of awakening. And my mission is to support the awakening process, whether that's at the personal, individual level or at the planetary, collective level. And so today I'd love to talk a little bit about the upcoming winter solstice and kind of like why it's so important this year and how we can best prepare for it so that we can kind of, really harness, shall we say, harness that, what it has to offer for us. So the solstice is always a lovely moment, a lovely opportunity for kind of really going within, reflecting on the year that's coming to a close. It's the shortest day, certainly in the northern hemisphere, it's the shortest day of the year. Obviously in the southern hemisphere, it's the longest day of the year. It's the summer solstice. So just reflecting on the year and kind of, if we're in the northern hemisphere, we're kind of celebrating the return of the light. And so this goes way back to ancient times, and obviously, we know people will be gathering at Stonehenge, these kind of lovely places for ceremony. But why is it particularly unique this year? Well, I don't know if you've come across Three-Eye Atlas, if you've picked up on the excitement around this kind of interstellar object. Nobody knows quite what it is or quite what to call it. Some people are certainly referring to it as a comet. But it's going to be passing closest to the Earth on the 19th of December. So just a couple of days before the solstice. And so that kind of feels quite significant. That's one aspect of this kind of, I'm thinking of it as a 3-day window really. And then kind of straight after that, we've got the new moon. And obviously new moon is always a time of kind of like new beginnings, fresh beginnings. And we can think of that at both the personal and the planetary level. And then on the Sunday, now I was going to say on the Sunday is the solstice, the date and time of things like the new moon and the solstice will vary depending on whereabouts in the world you are. But certainly in Europe, we're looking at sort of just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think it is in the UK, and just after 4 o'clock in Central Europe on the Sunday. So what I'm really kind of feeling, what I'm planning, and the universe has really conspired very nicely for me, is that I'm actually planning a 3-day retreat, just an at-home. I was going to say at home alone. My husband will be here, but he's very much supportive of this. So just a kind of quiet, gentle time to go within, maybe do some journaling, some meditating, chanting, walks in nature. I'll certainly be having 3 days of silence, kind of, just kind of no kind of like internet, no phone, no kind of chatting with my husband, and just kind of, just really kind of seeing what wants to emerge out of that stillness, out of that space. What exactly energetically is happening? What can we feel into? And I will no doubt be opening my Akashic records as well, because those of you that have been following for a little while know that I've been on a deep dive this year. It's been quite a journey, extraordinary journey, quite life-changing, really. So yeah, so I really encourage you as much as you can to do the same. Now, I mentioned that the universe has kind of conspired to help me do this. Normally, this weekend just before Christmas would be full of a certain amount of socializing for us, but it's actually kind of fallen um, the weekend before this year. In terms of the sort of charity events and things that we like to kind of participate in. And so yeah, so suddenly it's like, wow, I've got these 3 days where I really can blank out my schedule, blank out the calendar. So now I know that may not be possible for you, but really see what you can, have a look at your calendar, your diary, and see, what space can you carve out for yourself, and what do you love to do? What is really nourishing and nurturing for you at this time of year? And in terms of your kind of spiritual practice, what's going to kind of really help you enter into the stillness, into the deep stillness. And so, on that note, I'd love to share actually something that my husband and I have been doing since December the 1st. And it has really helped me actually be kind of, I guess, a bit more focused on just cultivating some quiet time every single morning. And so I bought an advent calendar. Now it's an unusual advent calendar. I've got it here because I wanted to show it to you because it's so beautiful. And it's the Yogi Tea advent calendar. Okay. And so every day of December up to the 24th has a different flavor tea bag. I didn't even realize that Yogi Tea had so many tea bags. And I don't have any affiliate links, by the way. But yeah, so we've been starting our days, doing one of the Thich Nhat Hanh meditations on the Plum Village app, which we absolutely love, and then having a mindful cup of tea, just such a lovely way to start the day. And what I've been enjoying is just noticing all the different flavors, really using it as a mindfulness practice, the aromas, the flavors, the warmth of the mug, and yeah, just so that's a little practice that you could do. And actually I have, if you would like my audio of my mindful cup of tea practice, then just drop me a line and I'll very gladly send that to you. I realized I had a look on Insight Timer and I realized it's actually not there. Of the 5 practices that I have on Insight Timer, which is another free app like the Plum Village app, they're both free. But I realized that my mindful cup of tea isn't on there. So just drop me an email if you would like me to send you that audio. And yeah. So just, yeah, coming back to this theme of why is it so important that we carve out some quiet time? Well, you've probably realized, I think we've all got the message that these are exceptional, extraordinary times. We are going through a huge awakening that is very challenging. And this is the process that, I've been supporting for individuals and groups over the last 20 years. It's like, the awakening process can really speed up, can become very intense and be very challenging. And when we look out at the world, at the sort of, geopolitical, economic kind of levels, the kind of climate crisis, we can see just how challenging it is that, everything, all the kind of what happens when we go through this process at the personal level, and it's the same at the planetary, is that everything that is no longer serving us falls away. It's kind of like it's kind of, John Weir Perry referred to it as a process of renewal. So we get to really clear out the old, kind of like heal that, release that, it comes up to the surface, but that's what's so challenging, because there's so much of it that comes up all at once. And, we only have to look at the news very briefly to just see how much there is that is coming up, how much shadow stuff there is that's coming up to be processed and healed and released at the collective level. So, certainly the more we understand about how the personal level works, the more it can help us cope with the challenges at the planetary level. And, over the kind of coming new year into 2026, I'm going to be addressing this more and more, because it's just so vital now. I really want you to all understand how this process works, so that we can kind of minimize any kind of fear that we might have around it, so that we can kind of hopefully just move through it, and maybe even be able to kind of support other people who are struggling as well. So I think that's probably enough for today. I don't want to make these videos too long, but I do have so much more that I want to share with you. But I'll just leave it at that. So really carve out some quiet time for yourself. Know that it's an opportunity to, we're being given an opportunity to rekindle our kind of spiritual gifts, our spiritual talents, if you like. To remember, this is part of the process, is just remembering our true authentic selves, remembering our origins of where we really come from. And so, all of this is what can come out of some quiet, still time that you can kind of really create for yourself over these 3 days, from the 19th of December through to the 21st. And if you can manage longer, another day or two either side, even better. So yeah, I wish you well. I wish you all the very best at this winter solstice, or summer solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.